gleichzeitig letzten Simpsons-Panel hier auf der Frankfurter Buchmesse 2010, hier im Comic-Zentrum. Wir werden uns hier so eine starke halbe Stunde ein bisschen unterhalten. Und zwar werden wir uns unterhalten mit zwei Künstlern aus Amerika. Zum einen hier vorne, ganz in schwarz und unglaublich gut aussehend, Bill Morrison von den Simpsons. Bill Morrison war bei den Simpsons Comics von Anfang an dabei, ist quasi die rechte Hand von Matt Groening und ist hier in Deutschland, glaube ich, sowas wie ein Superstar, was das Zeichnen angeht. Er war schon sehr oft hier, er liebt Deutschland, er liebt seine Fans und von daher, ich glaube, die meisten kennen ihn schon. Viele kennen auch den anderen Gast, der hier sitzt, Sergio Aragonés. Diejenigen, die kennen ihn wahrscheinlich für seine Arbeiten am Mad Magazine, aber nicht nur Mad hat er gemacht, sondern viele andere Sachen und jüngst ist er auch für die Simpsons tätig. Etwas, was man da oben immer wieder sieht. Hier sieht man zum Beispiel Sergio Aragonés, wie er die Simpsons zeichnet. Wir lassen das ein paar Mal durchlaufen, damit sich das jeder anschauen kann. Er gehört also jetzt auch zum Simpsons-Stuff und er ist jetzt tatsächlich auch ein regulärer Zeichner. Dort bringt seinen eigenen Stil rein und in Amerika ist man total begeistert. Und wir haben gestern auch so einen kleinen Zeichenkurs gemacht. Da hat man einmal so ein bisschen gesehen, wie Bill Morrison zeichnet, zum anderen wie Sergio Aragonés zeichnet. Heute machen wir etwas komplett anderes. Today we do something completely different. Wir unterhalten uns nämlich hier ein bisschen darüber, wer der größte Simpsons-Nerd ist. We talk today a little bit about who is the biggest Simpsons nerd. Well, for sure it's Sergio, but we try to be a little bit in competition. Wir machen das Ganze in Englisch, wie gestern auch schon, es hat keine Probleme gegeben, es sei denn, wenn wir mal irgendwie so besonders abgefahren werden, dann kann ich auch mal was eindeutschen. Und wir haben natürlich auch hinterher das beliebte Frage- und Antwortspielchen mit dem Publikum. Und wir haben natürlich nach dieser Veranstaltung eine Signierstunde, da werde ich aber dann nachher noch etwas mehr dazu sagen. Well, guys, let's start. Probably to be a Simpsons nerd means more than just working for the Simpsons. It means to be a fan and it means to have a collection, I think. So, Bill, for you it might be very easy to have a big Simpsons collection because you're working for the Simpsons.
Yes, before we started doing Simpsons comics, I worked in Simpsons merchandise. I was the artist for most of the merchandise that appeared in the early days of The Simpsons. So I used to bring home samples of everything that I worked on. So I have boxes and boxes full of early Simpsons merchandise. That's just really sort of my, I'm not telling you where it is. It's sort of my personal archive. So I don't have really a lot of things on display in my office or at my home. I think because The Simpsons is something that I live with and work with every day, I like to display other things that I'm passionate about. The main thing is Batman. That's my biggest collection. Yeah.
Hat das soweit jeder mitbekommen oder soll ich eine kurze Übersetzung machen? Was passt? Passt, okay. If I ask you how big is your Simpsons collection, not your Batman collection, but your Simpsons collection, how would you think, how big is it?
I would say compared to Sergio's collection, it's not as big, but it's heavily weighed on the early days of The Simpsons, and I don't have a lot of the more recent merchandise. So Sergio he collects mainly the figurines, three-dimensional, right? And he has from the beginning all the way up to present day.
Well, as far as I know, I have seen Sergio's collection of The Simpsons. It is enormous. Well, I think I have only seen a part of it, and this is enormous. And I think it's far more than figurines, but how big is your Simpsons collection?
What happened is that from day one, when The Simpsons came out, I got hooked on it. I thought it was the best written show that I've seen, and it developed so well from a family into a town with the doctors, with the television people, with everything. So I fell in love with the show. And the first time I saw a figurine, there were some dolls that they came out. So I got them because I love The Simpsons. So I started getting them because I had a very large studio and I could put them there. They was not at home. My wife will have kicked me out. I put them in the studio, and suddenly I realized that I really liked everything that was Simpsons. I never bought socks or Simpson underwear, all the t-shirts, everything that is Simpson in volume, glasses, figurines, everything. I have them all. I have spies in Spain, in Australia, in Germany, every place, and when something new comes out, they let me know I get it. So I think I have everything.
You think you have everything?
Yes.
You have this t-shirt?
I don't collect t-shirts, or I have clocks. Everything that is Hollywood. I have Simpsons clocks, and I don't know, about 40 different ones. But everything
that's figural, three-dimensional.
It's not in the house, it's on the studio. But I have an admiration for the logic of the show, for the continuity of the show that I have ever seen in anything else. Because it's very well controlled and it's funny. Besides everything, it's very, very funny. I love it.
I know your collection is as big you could fill up a warehouse with it.
It has a warehouse.
Well, I also collect Simpsons, you know. I think I cannot compare with anything you have, but I probably have some strange things. So I like to close in Simpsons books. I have the socks. I admit I have the socks with Simpsons on it. No underwear. Oh yes, I have underwear.
You have the underwear?
Oh yeah, sure. So I naturally.
You have a pinball machine?
No, that is the one thing I thought we have to talk about differently. There's a Simpsons Pinball Machine, ein Flipper. Also das Pinball Machine ist vielleicht nicht jedem ganz gängig. Das ist so ein Flipperspiel und zwar ein richtig großes, also so wie man sie in den Gaststätten auch sieht. Und da wurde eins. When was the pinball game made?
2004.
2004 for a special reason?
No. Fox just made a deal with the pinball company, Bally. Is it Bally? Yeah. I actually did the designs for the pinball machine. For the front piece and then on the sides, and they paid me very little to do the artwork, but part of the payment was they gave me a pinball machine. So I had it in my garage in a box. You know, I never took it out of the box. And a friend of mine who's an art dealer was visiting, and he saw that and he said, "What's in the box?" And I said, "It's a Simpsons pinball machine." And he said, "Why don't you have it in your house?" I said, "Well, I just don't have room for it." And he said, "Well, what do you want for it?" So I traded a Neil Adams Batman page for the Simpsons pinball machine.
Do you have Homer Santa Claus stores?
No. And I don't have some man-sized Bartman like it's in the Bongo Studios. The pinball machine, how did you get the pinball machine?
I looked for it and I asked Bill if he could ask Matt to come for me, that it was in very good condition. And next thing I found out is by my door, sent by the studios, and they put it in the house, and there it is.
Yeah, the minute I told Matt that Sergio wanted a pinball machine, he said, let's buy Sergio a pinball machine. So, you know, he got a little bit of a discount. Yes. But I think they retail for $5,000.
That's right. But you also, just aside, you're a collector of pinball machines, aren't you?
Well, I have only 12.
Only. So I have nearly as much. Well, I have none, but yeah, pinball machines. But they're not. What is the there are many things of the Simpsons kind of merchandise, but not merchandise because it's unofficial. Sadly to speak, but many countries bring out Simpsons stuff that is not really official, and on some occasions you find stuff like this. Do you collect also stuff that's not official, Bill?
Once in a while, if I see something, what we call bootleg merchandise, or pirated merchandise, if it's really unique, I pick it up. What I do have from the early days of Simpsons merchandise is companies would send in prototypes to Fox for approval. And sometimes they're worse than the bootlegs. They're really hideous, like terribly bad. And I have some of those. I have a Marge Simpson doll that looks almost nothing like Marge Simpson. And so I like to collect things like that.
I love to go to different places. For instance, in Mexico, I go very often to see my family, and it's sort of like a cottage industry. Many families make Simpsons things or Batman things that they are completely illegal. So I love to collect those things to bring to the States to give to Matt. Puppets, marionettes, ceramic things.
Sergio bought me a really great ceramic Batman. Sits on the table about this big.
They are horrible.
From Mexico.
Piggy banks. So you put coins. Horrible. But it's a love for the Simpsons that when they asked me to work for them, I was delighted. It was to me the biggest thing that could ever happen, besides working for Matt and all the regular work. Being able to now be part of the family working on the comics, the Simpsons, something I really thoroughly love. So drawing those characters, I don't feel like I'm drawing their characters. When I'm drawing, I think they are my characters, because I've been knowing them from the beginning. When they were with all those spikes, they were so different.
Yeah, I mean, it becomes like family.
It's become my family.
Get to know them so well.
Oh yeah.
Especially in Germany, there is a lot of merchandise of The Simpsons you can get nowhere else than in Germany. It's official, but it's very good here in the shops. It's specially made for Germany. First question is, how can it come that a country has specialized merchandise that you can't find anywhere else?
Well, that's an interesting question because, like I said in the beginning, I was before the comic books, I worked in Simpsons merchandise, and at the very beginning, there was a huge wave in the United States of Simpsons merchandise, and then it died completely. So it was really, really hot for about a year and a half or 2 years, and then there were so many things that the stores bought that didn't get sold, that just sat on the store shelves, that suddenly the Simpsons merchandise was poison in the United States. Nobody wanted to buy it, nobody wanted to sell it. So there then was a period of a couple of years where there was no Simpsons merchandise in the United States. And then suddenly the Simpsons became popular in Germany. So the German manufacturers wanted merchandise because none existed. They couldn't get the merchandise from the United States because it no longer existed. So the manufacturers bought licenses from Fox and they created their own merchandise. And so then what happened was all the fans in the States who wanted Simpsons merchandise were upset because they had to go to Europe to get Simpsons merchandise. They couldn't get it in the United States.
But it was not only in Germany. France made fantastic ceramic figurines, lots of them, and Spain made everything. I have about 20 pouches for telephones with the Simpsons, with that plastic that is in volume in 3D, and it's just put telephones in your wallet, in your belt. So I have a whole luggage. Simpsons telephone pockets things. And no telephone fit on them because they don't make them that big anymore. The telephones were. So it's, and every place you go you find completely different things. And they're amazing.
I always wonder if anyone who has a collection like that, like you two have, or probably a part like we have, if it's only standing in shelves and boxes, or is it used? For example, with a part of my collection, I bought me in the cellar of my house, I bought me a Simpsons bar. In the cellar of my house there's a bar and everything is looking like Moe's bar. It's a big plate, Moe's bar, Moe's tavern, and then all my collectibles around this bar. I have some art on the wall, and I have Simpsons glasses, beer glasses, everything. So this is my personal space with the Simpsons, and everything is in use. And if friends visit me, they sit with me at the bar drinking beer, and I feel like I'm Moe, and the others are Barney and Homer. And
you look like Moe.
I know. Well, and so this is a very cool way, I think, to present what you collect. So how is it with your collections?
I was going to say before also that a lot of companies that make hamburgers, they were giving premiums in little plastic bags with all the figures. And you went and bought a hamburger, and then they give a little figure. And it happened that all over the world, all the McDonald's or whatever it was, Burger King,
McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, whoever,
they make different ones. So we were calling all our friends in Australia, says, buy a lot of hamburgers and get me all the figurines from Australia, and then give me all the figurines from Spain, because they were all different. They were not the same ones. So you keep getting all these bags with figurines. It was terrific. You have them in storage.
Yeah, most of the things I have are in storage. The pieces that I think are really unique, I have out. I also collect Futurama, I think because I worked on designing the characters. And also the fact that there isn't that much Futurama merchandise available, it's a lot easier to have everything.
Admires a big Bender you have in your
Yeah, I have a giant life-size Bender statue in my house, and yeah, there's little Simpsons things here and there. But see, I'm also married to a woman who decided from day one she was not going to let my collecting overwhelm our house. So, you know, all the elements of my collecting habits are evident, but it's very tasteful. It's not, you know, my house doesn't look like, you know, a 12-year-old's bedroom.
You know, my house looks like that, and my girlfriend admires it. So I call all the girls here around and all the women, if your husband collects comic books, support him. Make your home a big, big, big collection hall, a museum of comics. It's nothing better than that.
No. That leads to divorce. That leads to, please, have a special room for your collection. I have everything on my studio. And what happened is, not very large studio, so all my friends will come. But then I closed the studio because I'm building one behind my house. But I don't have anything in my house that is cartoony. Because I go from my studio, go to the house, and it's like a normal house. No cartoons, nothing, not on the walls, nothing with mine.
Yeah, you have African art.
African, Mexican.
Yeah, Mexican art.
I collect all the African stuff.
It looks like an adult's house.
Yeah, yeah.
But then I have a very good relationship because I have my thing right now in storage, and when the studio will be finished, I take everything out and display everything and we make all kinds of things. You know? So, but we are not the biggest collectors. This television shows that they have talked about people collecting, and there's people who collect everything, and if one figure is a little different because the color is different, they have it. They have every, and this is a phenomenon, not only on The Simpsons, but in everything, that people make things for collectors. They know that collectors are stupid, and they would like to have everything that is related to that. Dishes, thimbles, name it, and people collect it. So people make things to be collected. And they do one a month. And then you buy it. I do buy it. It's a big collection or something, and every month I get a new Simpsons train.
Oh yeah, the Simpsons train. That was out of control.
Out of control. And I'm one of those that...
Yeah.
Didn't hear about that.
But these people are really bad. They collect... I've seen... They have a house that looks like a Simpsons house, and then you go, and every bedroom is full of Simpsons stuff.
Did they show that documentary here in Germany with the guy who went around and he interviewed all the Simpsons fans? He went to England and he was in search of the biggest Simpsons nerd.
If they had shown it, I missed it.
Okay.
Does anybody know this was in Germany?
It was about a year ago when they had the 20th anniversary, and they videotaped. It was a collector in England, and they videotaped his house, and it was literally every room filled with Simpsons. And just when you thought, you know, that he must have everything, there couldn't possibly be anymore, he went up into the attic, and the whole attic was just a display room of some more Simpsons. It's incredible.
Well, I think we will end this with a thing. So everybody of us here, us three here on stage, will name the two pieces of his collection who he likes most. So I think for my collection, the two things I like most. One is me, Simpsonized from the first Simpson tour we did. So I as a Simpsons figure. Piece of original art for me, original art. And the second thing is Alice Cooper once did a story for the Simpsons Horror Show, for the Trios of Horror, and I interviewed him. And Alice Cooper, he Simpsonized a Bart figurine, a Bart puppet, and made him look like. This part looked like Alice Cooper with this black eyes in it, and he gave it to me. So this is a very, very piece I like very much. It's originally made with a pen by Alice Cooper, and it's now my own. So that's the two pieces for me. So what are your favorite pieces?
Oh, I have a set of stamps of The Simpsons, signed by Matt Groening. He signed every stamp on it. That's wonderful. I have. But one of my favorite things is I was once in Mexico, and there was this man who have made every characters of The Simpsons, everyone, this size, and they look perfect with a magnifying glass. They had sculpted, and they were perfect, and they are like this, like 1 centimeter, all of it. It's amazing. It is amazing.
Well, Bill, for you it's probably difficult to design.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Probably that really horrible Marge Simpson doll that never got approved. I love that. And, oh goodness, what else? Well, I love the original paintings. I don't want to talk about stuff I did though. You know what I had? I had an Otto doll that never went into production because they were about to produce it when all of the merchandise dried up. So it's a prototype of a Otto, the bus driver doll. and that's really cool. It's very well done, but it never was manufactured.
Sounds cool. Okay, ich glaube, das war sehr interessant als Gespräch. Jetzt würde ich mal hier noch ein paar Fragen erlauben und zulassen. Wer hat ein paar Fragen an die beiden Künstler?
Hello, I'm Eileen. I wanted to ask you, when you're drawing the Simpsons comics and working, do you hear music? And yes, which one? Do you like to hear music when you're working?
And what kind of music you do?
I have a pretty wide, eclectic musical taste, so it really just depends on what mood I'm in. I like 1940s swing music, so I listen to that a lot. I listen to early 1970s glitter, glam rock like David Bowie and Mott the Hoople. It just depends on what mood. Normally I like to have the television on, and I like to play old movies, because they're almost like radio shows. You don't have to actually watch them. You can just have them running and you can follow the story just sort of by looking at the TV every so often. But that's mostly what I have on when I work.
Well, when I'm writing the stories, I cannot have nothing, no music, nothing, totally quiet, because I don't want anything to distract my head on the writing part of it. Total silence. No distractions, no telephone, nothing. But when it comes to draw, I put the television on, and again I also watch all movies that I know by heart, and it's like a companion. Because if you have somebody talking to you, they wait for you to talk to them back. They telling you, and then they respond. So the television don't ask you anything; they just talk. You know? So you're drawing. This, you relax your eyes from the paper to the television. There's a change. Your eyes don't get tired. Your hand stop for a minute. You watch a scene. So you continue drawing. Watch. Then you look and it's a different movie because the old one ended and the new one started. Because you get so concentrated in work. But that's a companionship. It's a pretext to have something around when you draw.
All right, another question?
Hi there, how about you? My name's Christine. I'd like to know, is there like a topic you are especially keen on writing or telling about, like the Halloween specials or a Christmas or whatever? Like some people say, oh, I like to draw this, or this is a story I like to tell.
I think for me, normally the story ideas come from either things that happen to me or things that I've heard about happening to somebody else, or sometimes something that happened from my childhood when I first started writing. I drew a lot of story ideas from my childhood. As far as topics I like to write about, I love the Treehouse of Horror stories. Those are fun because you don't have to follow the continuity of The Simpsons. You have a little bit more freedom. If you want to kill somebody, you can kill somebody. If you want to make somebody evil, that's okay, because it's all make-believe, it's temporary. Yeah, as far as The Simpsons goes, those are the stories I probably mainly like to tell.
Well, in my case, I come from a background of pantomime cartoon without words, like the ones I do on the margins of Mad Magazine, the little cartoons, or the pages. So my humor is visual more than written. So, for instance, I was asked to draw one page joke with Maggie, called Maggie's Crib. And that for me is wonderful because I do one page or two page joke without words because Maggie doesn't speak. So for me it's very comfortable to work that page that they can use. It appears in Bart Simpson's comics. It's only one page to separate the stories. Those are very comfortable for me. But you cannot tell your brain what to think. So when you're thinking an idea, sometimes you think of a very long story that need words, like when I'm writing comics. So then you start making notes. And with The Simpsons, it's so natural because I know the character so well that just a little something invites me to write the story. I'm just finished writing one about Michael Jackson and the zombies. I was watching Thriller, and suddenly the story popped out of my head about Bart and Milhouse by accident getting into a movie shooting in the street and getting themselves as zombies one on top of the other, and the director liking the way they move, and then Michael Jackson sees the movie and then he copies Bart and Homer. So when I presented the story to him, he says, well, that's a very good story, but we cannot use it with Bart and Milhouse because he just died and the time is a little passé for him. So he suggested, why don't you do it with child Homer and child Barney? So the story is the same, but I just had to change the beginning about Grandpa being young and trying to make fun of Bart's music talents. And I came out I love it.
Yeah, it's a very good story.
And then they get dressed and they are walking like zombies, one on top of the other. And they look like zombies because it's one kid on top of the other kid going like that. And then Michael Jackson's going to see the Russians and says, hey, give me that guy so I can hire him. Of course they cannot find him because it's still kids. So I won't give you the ending so you can read the story, don't spoil the story.
There's another one you did though that I thought was really interesting because it was basically one idea. What would happen if Homer decided to put in an alarm system in his home? And that's what it started, just a what if. What if, and with The Simpsons it's difficult because the show has been on for so many years, and there have been so many episodes, and we've done so many comic books. It gets difficult sometimes to do a story that has never been done with The Simpsons. But that was one, that idea that we realized there's never been an episode, either in the comics or on the TV show, where Homer put an alarm system in his home. So Sergio took that and ran with it and just came up with, all these crazy gags involving the alarm system at the power plant, which is way too elaborate for home use.
It was so absurd, the whole story. Sounding in his house and he's running to the factory thinking that the plant is on fire and then going back. But you have it in German, it's the latest issue.
Also die Geschichte, um die gerade ging, die ist jetzt gerade auch erschienen. Ja. Time is over. So it went fast by. So I thank you both, the both of you. Thank you for being here and talking to us. It was very, very nice, and I think the audience appreciated having you here.
Bitte schön.
Und jetzt kommt natürlich das, was für den einen oder anderen vielleicht viel wichtiger ist als das, was wir auf der Bühne gemacht haben, nämlich die Signierstunde. Die geht leider nicht ohne Regeln, weil sonst hier der totale Wildwuchs herrscht. Deswegen möchte ich diese Regeln kurz kundtun. Die beiden, die werden da hinten sehr fleißig signieren, bis ihnen quasi die Hand abfällt. Trotzdem müssen wir das ein wenig regulieren. Es gibt pro Person einen Head-Sketch auf ein Cover oder in ein Buch hinein, nichts auf weißem Papier. Wer mir heute mit irgendwelchen weißen Papieren ankommt, den werde ich sofort persönlich bzw. durch meine 2 Meter großen Handlanger aus der Reihe werfen lassen. Wir begrenzen auch die Anzahl der Signaturen, und zwar auf insgesamt 3 heute, weil das gestern etwas zu umfangreich wurde. Also einmal mit Head-Sketch insgesamt 3 Signaturen, das sollte die meisten Menschen glücklich machen. Ihr könnt Sachen kaufen drüben direkt neben der Signiermeile, da ist ein Tisch aufgebaut, wo es unter anderem auch die limitierten Hefte gibt. Die sind auch schön zu lesen und selten, wenn man keine Signatur abbekommen sollte. Und jetzt kommt das, was alle befürchtet haben, wir werden Nummern ausgeben. Und nur wer eine diese Nummer hat, stellt sich bitte an. Alle anderen, da tut es mir ganz fürchterlich leid. Wir sind ab morgen auch noch mit beiden auf Signiertour. Also vielleicht gibt es für den einen oder anderen noch die Chance, auf der Signiertour sich dann was abzuholen. Wo die Signiertour hinführt, findet ihr auf paninicomics.de. Wir sind 2 Wochen unterwegs, eine Woche mit beiden, eine Woche dann nur noch mit Bill. Aber da gibt es noch in ganz Deutschland die Möglichkeit, sich Signaturen und vielleicht auch die eine oder andere kleine Head-Sketch-Zeichnung auf ein Cover abzuholen. Soweit, so gut. Die Nummern, die werden gleich ich und noch ein weiterer Kollege ausgeben. Und ich möchte, dass sich jetzt nicht ein einziger von euch hier wegrührt, weil ich möchte gern durch die Reihen gehen können. Ich möchte nicht, dass ich hier vorne so... Also ihr bleibt alle, wo ihr seid, und ich gehe durch die Reihen und ich werde dann mehr oder minder großzügig verteilen. Der Kollege wird dasselbe von hinten machen. Also keiner, der etwas haben möchte, bewegt auch nur einen einzigen Fuß. Wer dann eine Nummer hat, der geht nach hinten, und dann möchte ich, dass sich dort eine Reihe bildet. Nein, ich möchte, dass sich 2 Reihen bilden, denn ihr müsst euch entscheiden, ob ihr etwas von Bill oder von Sergio haben wollt. Ansonsten kriegen wir das leider nicht sauber über die Bühne und dann endet das im Chaos und alle sind traurig und das wollen wir nicht haben. So, genug geredet, sitzen bleiben, es gibt jetzt die Nummer.